and right into the stretch. Looking back and throws up the middle. Rose is on his way around. Picked up by Otis.
Here comes the ready or not. Here comes the boys from the south. Here comes the ready or not. How you like me now? I say, here comes the ready or not. Here comes the boys from the south. Here comes the ready or not. How you like me now?
You don't live in Cleveland. You live in Cincinnati.
All right, everybody. I'm going to try to do my best Santori impression because he's going to be a little bit late. But welcome to the best Cincinnati sports podcast this side of the Atlantic Ocean. We have Greg Luther, I'm Cincy James, and this right down here, this guy right here, Adam Ronel from threewaycity.com. Adam, thank you so much for being here.
I appreciate y'all having me.
Absolutely. So I just want to go ahead and get started. So tell us a little bit about your background. I know you didn't move here all that long ago, so kind of tell everybody a little bit about yourself.
Oh, man. So born and raised in Detroit, Michigan. I've lived a bit all over Atlanta, Boston, Pittsburgh, and made my home here about 7 months ago. Big into arts, fashion, sports. And I'm just a creative man, just a very, very creative person that landed in Cincinnati.
That's awesome. I love it. So you said 7 months, right?
Yes.
Goodness gracious. So growing up, what was your sports teams of choice?
Sports teams of choice. I had players. So I followed Deion Sanders. So when he was with the Falcons, I just liked the Falcons. 49ers, Cowboys, wherever he went when he played baseball, when he was here at Braves. I was young, so I didn't really get when he was at the Yankees. But yeah, man, I just followed players, man. I like Barry Sanders, but I never liked the Lions. I never had patriotism to any Detroit sports teams because my father is from Ohio.
Right.
So our household, he always went against all Michigan sports, So.
Well, Adam, man, this is one thing you and I can agree on because if there's one argument I get in it with everybody, Barry Sanders, in my opinion, is the best running back of all time. I know everybody tries to throw Jim Brown, Walter Payton or Emmitt Smith at me, but Barry Sanders, watching him as a kid, just watching his highlights, that, in my opinion, I don't care what anybody says, that's the best running back of all time.
Yeah. You got to think about it. He's doing those things against the best players in the world. And he's playing like it's outside, like a backyard playground. And it's like he's making them, the best players in the world, look like amateurs. And so I think the only person you can compare to when I look at it and see how they both retired early is a Jim Brown. That's probably the only person, just if you look at the stats and from how early they both retired. That's the only other person. But Barry Sanders, he's like a video game.
Well, exactly. You look at Detroit. He really didn't have any great. Can you imagine if he had a halfway decent quarterback with him in Detroit? Everybody knew that the ball was going to go to Barry Sanders, and they still couldn't tackle him. That's the crazy thing about it. He was like that for that Lions team in the '90s. Everybody knew the ball was going to him, and you still couldn't tackle him.
Yeah, I think that play. We always had terrible quarterbacks in Detroit, and then the line, man. His line was terrible. He had a very terrible line. And I think if you go back to when he was at Oklahoma State, that shows you what he can do if he had like a talented offensive line or something like that, or just quality players. Anytime you rush for 28,000 yards, 2,800 yards, including the bowl game and the college football season, that's crazy.
Yeah. So that's I stand my ground I'm going to stand my ground for the rest of my life. I'm going with Barry Sanders, but
Whatever.
Who's your favorite Bengals running back?
Say what?
Who was your favorite Bengals running back?
Corey Dillon for me. So when Barry Sanders was in the '90s, Bengals and the Lions were a lot similar in the '90s. We didn't really have the best teams, but for me growing up, it was Corey Dillon. I mean, not as good as Barry Sanders, but Corey Dillon just had that perfect combination of speed.
Yeah.
And he could run over people. Obviously, Corey Dillon went on with the Patriots, won a Super Bowl with them, and he was a big contributor to one of those Super Bowls. But for me, it's Corey Dillon hands down. That was my Bengals running back growing up.
What about you?
I'll show you mine. This was mine right here, Icky Woods. Icky
Yeah,
Woods. He was my
You
favorite.
Icky Shuffle.
Oh yeah, the Icky Shuffle. I was 5 years old when he started the Icky Shuffle, and so that was everything for me. 5 years old trying to do the Icky Shuffle. I mean, come on, it was great.
I'm gonna give y'all mine. So this is so funny that I'm even here. Um, Brooks, man, that was my favorite running back.
Yep.
That was my.
What was it about him that made him your favorite?
I like them slashing running backs with speed, man. I like that running style. He get through that thing, man. He'll get through that thing. That was my guy.
I get into fights with people because I usually take Dillon over Brooks. But the more you learn about Brooks, he was a great receiver. And the thing with Brooks also is he was a great pass blocker too. Brooks was 5'8", but he was not afraid to go up against anybody in pass block. So the more I learn about Brooks, the more respect you have for him as a player overall.
Yeah, that was my guy. I was like, even like if you think about it, he was basically that hybrid running back early. What you say, he came out the backfield, and a good runner as well, man. But yeah, that was my guy for sure.
Well, no, so I was talking to a guy who's all history Bengals. He even said like Chris Collinsworth, that 89 team, Eddie Brown, all those receivers will tell you that he was that James Brooks was the best receiver on that Bengals team in the 80s.
That's crazy.
Best receiver.
That's crazy.
So let's jump into what you and Greg are both wearing right now. Three-Way City.
Oh yeah, man.
I'm ready to talk about this. So
Me too.
The first question I want to know is what made you want to start Three-Way City?
So I have a unique connection with Cincinnati fashion. I had a clothing line prior in 2018 called Meant to Live Equally. It was based on equality, so it was the narratives were pushing equality. But it gets heavy when you mix those beliefs with your artistic creativity. So it was kind of blocking it. But I did Cincinnati Pride in 2018.
Okay.
So that was my first experience there. So I was a vendor there. And so I always wanted to have a fashion line. I took some years off and decided what I was going to do. And then when I decided I was relocating here, I started to research anything and everything I could about Cincinnati because I needed to know the market that I was getting to. And I also needed to know the culture. So I started learning culture. So I just dove in, man. I mean, from Porkopolis to underground subways to the chili culture. When I tell you I studied everything that I could. And then when I learned about Cincinnati chili, so now I'm still visiting these chili bars. I've been to Skyline, I've been to Gold Star, I've been to Dixie, I've been to Blue Ash. I think I have Price Hill, Pleasant Ridge, Kent Washington, and then Empress still to go to. I got the history on the chili book. And so once I knew that, I said, well, that is the unique thing. How do I make this sound cool without sounding corny? Because fashion, it has to have some type of hip flair to it. And when I start learning about the styles, 3-way, 4-way, 5-way, etc., I said, if 3-way is the most popular, so I'm Googling, I'm searching, I'm looking, and it happened to be 3-way. And I said, that's the name of the clothing line that says Cincinnati. And so immediately I start sketching out fonts and different ways to do it. And then I start going through the trademark. I'm actually still going through it. I submitted the trademark application because I was like, this is just something. I was hitting hashtags on every social media platform to see if anybody had ever used it. I think it was used like 2 times in like a provocative way, like a sexual way or something like that. And so once I did it, I said, this is what it's going to be, and it was like, that's Cincinnati, 3-Way City, and just being from Detroit, the Motor City, having time in Pittsburgh, it was called the Steel City. And so I said, let's not reinvent the wheel. Cincinnati has a very unique culture with the chilies, 3-Way City, and that's how I came up with it.
Hude Joe says, I want some 4-way action because he likes that. Yeah, it's like, okay, pick 2 people. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
So, all right. So we know what made you want to start it. what upcoming products do you have? Do you have anything else that's maybe getting ready to hit, or maybe you want to tell everybody kind of
Yeah,
release
the thing
right
about
now?
it is you just have to be patient because it's still a business.
Yep.
Mhm.
I have so many ideas. Like the Bengals. I'm telling you, I'm tired of wearing orange and black. I love the Bengals, but I'm tired of wearing orange and black, man. I want to bring so many things to this city. You know, if in a perfect world, I'm one of the biggest brands here, and it expands, and I have enough money to have a three-way city scholarship fund for design students here. I turn these games into a fashion show where it's just the hippest, coolest clothing that you can have anywhere from, but you have to take time and build that cash flow and that trust with people. And so right now, I'm circulating with the Bengals community, which I'm grateful for. You guys have been so good to me, but man, I want to expand in colors and do the zoo and botanical. It's just touch things where I can really expand on colors. I can do a black and pink for Porkopolis. Like, I really studied the history of this city, and that's what I want to do. I want to bring Cincinnati culture to the world through fashion.
Well, here's another color scheme.
Yes, I have that, man. I have that made as well, man. I have that made as well, but like I said, it just takes time because it costs. You have to
Right.
make sure you're tracking in marketing dollars. Getting this stuff is made is not cheap. So you have these products, but you got to make sure that, hey, when you're putting them out, that they're connecting, that they're hitting,
Yeah.
that they're selling,
And
that they're innovative, right?
oh yeah, and there's so many different sports teams around the area that you could pull from, whether it's FC Cincinnati or Xavier, where you could get like that navy and white and silver type of color scheme. There's so many
Yeah.
good ones.
And even that light blue that Xavier has, like, I want something that's going to pop, that's going to catch the eye. I want people to feel good in what they're wearing.
And
I
I tell
have
you,
a lot.
and I'll tell you another thing, man. High school sports, especially football around here, is taken very seriously. Like I went to Madeira small school, but like Muller, which has the same colors as Madeira, if you came out with something like blue and gold or something, like represent high school colors, that'd be pretty cool too, in my opinion.
Yeah, man. Anything that I can do to articulate the culture here, that's what I want to
Yep.
do.
Oh yeah.
And so, but like I said, I want to be fashionable. I don't just want to have hoodies. That's, I want to expand. I want to have a polo. I want something where maybe a preppy or, like some class to it as well. Like, you want to dress up, you still want to show your pride for whatever sports team it is that you have, but hey, maybe it's a casual dinner, you know what I'm saying, where you can't just wear a t-shirt and hoodie, where there's something that is affordable but still stylish and makes you look, what I'm saying, like you have it, and that's
Right.
important with each design and everything that I do, that it looks like what's in the stores or better. So, yeah, man.
Well, we've got we've put this together just to kind of showcase all of your products that you got right now, just so that everybody can kind of see.
That looks pretty cool up there.
Yeah. Oh yeah. But we've got the jacket. We got you sporting the jacket and the hat. Got the three-way city, the three-way crop top. I mean, it's all fire. It's all looking good.
I appreciate it. I really do appreciate it.
But yeah, we're all about it. We're I need to buy my hat. I need to get it. I need to do that.
I
Like,
got guys taken care of. I got some stuff to the side for you guys. You guys have been so supportive of me. So, the money will come. It's, you want to gain people's trust to know that, and show that you have gratitude, because, people don't have to support you. So, you guys are good. Ain't got to worry about that. I'll make the money.
it's all good. But so, Greg, did you have a question? I know I've got another one.
All right, Adam. I know you're cool with it. This can represent any three-way, but I have to ask you, if you had to pick any three-way choice, whether it's Skyline, Gold Star, Blue Ass Chili, Dixie, all the chili powders you've been to, what is your favorite one if you had to pick?
Uh-oh.
Man, you're going to get me killed, man. I want to do partnerships with these people later.
You don't want to answer that. You don't have to answer.
I'll say this. I really like Blue Ash a lot. And I heard a lot of things about it from people. People kept telling me, you got to try Blue Ash. You got to try Blue Ash. They didn't disappoint. Gold Star as well.
Yeah.
I think they're all unique. There is a consistency in how Cincinnati does chili, but they're different. I mean, to say I have a favorite. I don't know if I have a favorite yet. Let me finish. We gotta have to revisit this. Do another one
Right.
when I do Price Hill and Camp Washington and all the other ones. I got to try it then.
Well,
Yeah.
I work right near Blue Ash Chili's, and I can vouch. Blue Ash Chili is dang good chili.
It's really good, man.
Yeah.
It's really good.
Absolutely. But here's a fun one. If you could pick any Cincinnati athlete or celebrity in Cincinnati, like to wear, I mean, I'm sure you want everybody, but if you could pick one, like there's like that one Cincinnati athlete or celebrity that you saw wearing your stuff, you're like, I finally accomplished this. Like, what is the one athlete or celebrity you would love to see wearing your stuff if you just had to pick?
I'm gonna be honest, man. The young guys would definitely expand the brand immediately. People will do that. But for me, if you're talking about a personal thing, for me, Ron Isley or Boosie Collins.
Oh, nice.
Yes.
That would be, oh my gosh, that would be
That would, yeah, man. I've written things down, goals. Like I would love to be able to do like a partnership with either Ron or Boosie especially, just because he's just so eccentric and charismatic and these people deserve their flowers. They help shape American music culture.
Oh my God.
And that's what I want to do with this brand. I want to bring Cincinnati to the world because it gave me so much peace. And there's so many great things about the city. So for me, it would absolutely be Boosie Collins or Ron Isley.
That's awesome.
That's not where I thought you were going to go when we talked about it.
I'm telling you,
And
man.
I love it.
But no. Bootsy
I knew you didn't, man.
No, I don't blame you. Bootsy Collins, I mean, that I don't blame you at all. But that would be so awesome if he dressed up wearing something like that. Would be awesome.
Man, that would make me like what I have in this mind up here, to design a jacket with a Bootsy Collins, be able to use his face or his glasses, his hat. There's so many things and so many colors that I can do to just make that a collection piece, like like the Bootsy Collins Three-Way City collection. Like it just allowed me to do so much, man.
Well, he's
so
eccentric
out there, man.
Well, Bootsy, even though he made it big, he never forgot where he came from. He has love for the city of Cincinnati. I mean, when he was at Paul Brown Stadium for the Ravens playoff game playing, I mean, that is just so cool that he loves coming back to. He even did like a Bengals a CD one time, all about the Bengals, which I thought that was awesome. So he's still, I mean, even though he made it big, he still has so much love for the city of Cincinnati.
It's a cool place, man. I get it. It's such a cool place, so I get it, man. Because I'm in love with Cincinnati. Yeah, so
Well, we're glad to have you. First off, in Cincinnati, I know I live down in Kentucky, but we're definitely glad to have you as a staple in the Cincinnati area. I don't think I could say it any better than that. We're so glad to have you. But we do, real quick, we do need to talk about our other sponsor, which is, let me pull this up real quick, which is Birmingham. Hold on. Which is Birmingham Meadery. All right. Do you like honey? Do you also like wine? We'll put them together and you've got mead. Use our code HOODAY9 for 15% off your order of 2 bottles or more. Essentially, that's going to take care of your shipping. Unless you live in Montana, for whatever reason, Montana doesn't like mead. They don't like alcohol, apparently. So you can't get it shipped to you. Sorry. But go to birminghammeadery.com. Use the code HOODAY9. 2 bottles or more, you get 15% off. Go there now. They're doing a lot of good things. We've been talking with them as well about some possible giveaways like Adam's talking about with Three-Way City. We're also talking with Birmingham, talking about giving away some merch. So please go there, check them out. They're doing some pretty cool things. So, Adam, how much time do you have?
Man, we got some time. What's up?
Okay. I just wanted to make sure before we, I know you said you got kind of an early bedtime. I won't say what time you said.
Please don't, man. They're going to think I'm a grandpa. Don't tell them.
No. But so Cincinnati, look, we've talked about the company We've talked about you haven't been here that long. What's some spots that you like to go to? Like whether it's just to go hang out or try to get some inspiration or to go eat that's not affiliated with Three Ways. Like what is something that you like to do or go to?
I think that's one of the things that this is a good question. One of the things that I love most about Cincinnati is the vibrant culinary arts culture here. I think the chili, geta, et cetera, is traditional foods.
Mhm.
But when you have like world-class like places like Jeff Ruby and things like that, you have so many options. For me, if I'm looking to have just a time where I'm relaxing, hear the music that I want to hear, I can go to Nostalgia and OTR, and it's a wine and R&B jazz lounge, and it's just more of a grown and sexy. There's always a diverse demographic there. If I want to go eat some good food across the street, I can go to Pep and Dolores. Then I like Pampas in what area is that? I think it's O'Brienfield. Yeah, I can't remember the exact neighborhood, but it's an Argentinian place.
Okay.
Oh, cool.
So I like to eat there. I like to go to Ghost Baby. It's a speakeasy and then listen to some jazz down there. I just love the aesthetics of it, and it was ranked as like one of the best jazz bars in the country by Esquire. And so I like places that have a little bit of class to them. That's my thing, because I know I can just relax and it's not a lot of commotion going on.
Right.
So, yeah.
Have you ever been to the Blue Note in Harrison?
I have not.
That's another spot that's pretty good. They've got some good live music there. I'm with you. I like to go to a place that's kind of chill, and because I played Greg played trumpet too, but I went a little further with it because I studied it.
I'll check y'all out, man.
I studied it at EKU, so that was my degree, was music education. So I actually had to play in front of people, do recitals and stuff like that. But I played in the jazz band, was lead trumpet in the jazz band, had a funk band that we would go around and play different places and play different covers of like Stevie Wonder or Prince.
That's
we would
my
play,
favorite.
yeah, we would play all kinds of stuff. But that's the kind of places we would always go to, places like that was real chill. It's just so easy to just go and just lose yourself and just not have to worry about anything.
And I think there's enough of them. Like Cincinnati is a city; it's small, but it packs a big punch.
Yes,
and I love that about it.
Mm-hmm.
When Jamar Chase got drafted by the Bengals, James, I think you might remember this. Remember when he was like, "Yeah, I thought there was just gonna be like, what was that chain restaurant called? Applebee's. I thought I'd just be going to an Applebee's. I didn't think there was much around here. But when he got here, he was like, he's like, wow. I mean, there's this, there's that. I mean, Cincinnati. I mean, he said when he got here, it was like, wow, there's like so much stuff you can do in Cincinnati.
It is. I always encourage people not to move here because I love it so much. I don't want the traffic to get crazy.
Right.
Prices to go up. Just
Yeah.
Stay where y'all at.
Oh. You all right?
Oh, lost him.
It happens to me Adam. It happens to me all the time.
Yeah.
That's all right. So you're selfish and you don't want anybody to be here.
Man, I love it, man.
Adam, I don't blame you. I'm the same way.
I love it here. I've lived enough places to know, like, yeah, this is it. Like Cincinnati's in its renaissance. It's like in a very special place right now. Sometimes change is uncomfortable for people. Like they're not used to the cost, and like every time I talk to people that are local, it makes me laugh because they're like, oh yeah, the prices went up so high. And it's like, yeah, I used to pay $600 for rent. I was like, you're just catching up with the rest of the country. That's
right.
All that's happening. Like you and we still have our cost of living is still lower than the national average.
Yes.
So even with the price increases, so
yeah,
man, no, I love it. I always encourage people not to move here. Always.
You can visit all you want, but don't. No.
Yeah, don't stay, man.
So another thing in Cincinnati, are you a big barbecue guy at all, or?
Man, so I tried. The only barbecue spot I've had now is Eli's.
The Eli's is a good place. I tell you what, if there's one barbecue spot you want to go to, it's in Loveland. I've taken a bunch of people there. I've taken him there. I think he just wanted to go also just because he got sick and tired of me talking about it, boasting about it. Go to Midwest Barbecue in Loveland. The owners there are nice as could be.
I've heard about that too. We all should go. We should just go. We should like plan that day and just go.
Oh, absolutely. You name a time, we'll go there and all that. It's
We
fun.
should just go. Yeah, because I've heard great things about Midwest Barbecue.
Oh my gosh, you definitely need to go there. The owners there are not nice as could be and all that. Just every person I brought a lot of picky eaters there, and they all came. They liked it.
I got a funny story about that. So in this food group, they were celebrating the Black businesses for Black History Month. Mm-hmm. And somebody's like, yeah, I love to go to this restaurant, Midwest Barbecue for Black History Month. And the white guy comes in the comments like, well, yeah, I just like to go there in general. So it just made me laugh. Like, he's like, look, I don't care nothing about what you're talking about. Like, I go there every month.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, man.
No, but so did you tell me your son Mason and all that, like, is a picky eater? He even went there, got the teriyaki wings, and he came away satisfied too, didn't he?
Yeah, he said it was the best wing he'd ever had. He's 11, so wings aren't his.
He has
forte.
11 years experience in eating chicken wings.
Right. So,
exactly.
But he said he was like, that's my favorite chicken wing I've ever had. He said the next time we come in, he wants to go back. So yeah, we'll make it happen. Definitely.
Yeah, we got to do it.
It's not that far away. It's not a chain, so it's just a one-off. It's one place that you go to. Tim and Nicole Worsham are the owners. Dude, they're such nice people. They have treated Greg and I with such hospitality.
I mean,
awesome people.
I mean, like they'll come out and talk to you. It's like it's like they're just all about family and all. They're not just about like putting out great food. They're also out there to make sure we do great service. Just make you want to come back every time. And
we were there, and we went out and ate. Had my family there, and Greg was there, and they brought out Bengals shirts for us, and then they started giving out Bengals shirts to everybody else in the restaurant.
Yeah. That's
like, hey, what's your sides? You like the Here you go. Cool. So yeah, they're just all about that family type atmosphere. They were talking about wanting to do something for Kevin Huber, the punter from the Cincinnati Bengals, because the talk is he's probably going to retire. I don't think he's going to just stick on the practice squad anymore. But he's always been a big supporter of them, so they want to try to do something for him, kind of like a retirement party or something. So it would be awesome to be able to go and support them the way that they support everybody else.
Yeah, I'm down.
Yep.
Yeah.
I'm definitely down.
Yep. We
just
love
name
it.
a place. We'll be there, bud.
All right, cool. What y'all doing for opening day?
Well, I got to work.
Yeah.
Me too.
Yeah, I got to work. So
Me too.
I live down in Paris, Kentucky, so that's right outside of Lexington. So I'm about an hour and 20 minutes from downtown Cincinnati.
Yeah.
But I work till 5 every day. So what I'll do is I'll come home and I'll watch it.
Okay.
Yeah. Same with me too. But opening day, there's just been debates. I don't know how familiar you are with the Reds. I mean, the Reds, America's first team. I mean, like it literally, we're trying to. It should be a holiday. Heck, I went to opening day when I was in school. My mom just flat out said to the principal, "Look, Greg's going opening day and all that." They didn't care anything. It's like just make it a holiday for Pete's sakes,
Yeah. That I think I saw something. I think it was on Twitter that was interesting. I think it was like kind of like the first time where the tickets hadn't sold out yet. I'm not sure if they sold out now.
I saw that they did today.
Okay, so today. Okay, yeah. I was like, oh man, they got the people like fed up. Like, look, change this team around. We're not. So it's good. I'm glad that opening day did sell out. So
it's an event unlike anything you've probably ever seen. I mean, tailgating is big in Cincinnati for Bengals games, but going to opening day of the Cincinnati Reds is just something else that it's hard to compare that to anything else because it's so singularly great.
Yeah.
Just hard to do it. So all around there, you got the banks and you've got all those different places that you can go to. Holy Grail right across the street from the stadium. But all those places are open. What time do they open? Like 9 o'clock in the morning or something?
Oh, that's wild.
Here's the thing. There's a lot of people that don't even go to opening. They just hang out the banks all day and watch the game on TV. That's how big of a deal it is.
Man, I've been there when the banks look like a movie where like you cannot move. So I can only imagine how opening day is.
Yes. Well, we texted you not this past weekend, but the weekend before when we went over to the Holy Grail to see if you could come out. But you're
Man,
like, town.
hey,
Hey, there's Santori.
what's up, brother, man?
Good, man. I've been listening to the show the whole way home. I got hung up about 2 hours later than I needed to be, so I made it.
Well, Santori, so you haven't been in here, so any questions that you've got for Adam?
Dude, honestly, I've been listening to the show for the last half an hour. Y'all killed it. I love the bit about Bootsy. I think we need to maybe push that a little bit, try and get a collab going on for Adam.
Let me put some work in so we can get that.
Right.
I'm 100% down with going to Midwest barbecue. As you can tell, I'm not a thin person, so I do like to eat. But no, I think you guys have been killing it, honestly. I have no questions. Y'all answered everything I had.
No questions. Hey, that's good. We did a good job, I guess.
All right, we did something right.
Well, Adam, do you have any questions for us? Anything that you know about Cincinnati or anything like that you just want to fire at us?
I think that those things will probably be more personal as we're growing and building our relationship over some good barbecue.
Right.
I think the biggest thing for me is because more than a monetary support, it's just knowing that people see your vision and they support you. That's important to me. So I guess my question for you guys is, what was it when you saw Three-Way City that said, hey, I want to support that thing?
Well, Santori, I want you to start, and then we'll go around the horn.
First and foremost, and I'm not going to try and compete with anybody, but I have as much love for Cincinnati as anybody is going to. With the exception of a couple years in college, I've lived here my entire life. And it's always kind of seemed like a little brother thing, especially with the sports where you're constantly felt like I was having to defend myself. And, I'd go to other areas of the country. I'd say I'm from Cincinnati and people would be like, oh, Ohio, whatever. There's this immense, deep-rooted pride. And since, quite frankly, it's anything Cincinnati. Bearcats, Bengals, as much as I'm upset with the Reds right now, the Reds. So when I see somebody who also shares that love and shares some kind of vision and wants to promote and pay homage to the city, it touches deep down. It's just one of those things where I'm just so damn proud of my city and everything that it's been able to accomplish. There's a lot of great history here that doesn't nationally get recognition. So anytime I see somebody trying to push any kind of product or any kind of love, especially when it's such a direct hit with a name like Three-Way City, if you're not from Cincinnati, you probably don't really get exactly what that is. Yeah, if you're from the area, yeah, maybe. But if you ask someone from, I don't know, Montana, since we like to rip on them, what Three-Way City is, they probably have no fucking clue. Pardon my language.
Well, they go to the gutter.
Right. It's just one of those things where I saw exactly what they mean by Three-Way City. Obviously, that's going to be a very strong Cincinnati connection. It sounds dumb, but it's strictly Cincinnati with me. And anything that I can see that comes up through those same veins that I came up with, I don't know, man. That's just what it is with me. It's its own culture. It's its own world. People from Cincinnati just don't get it. So anytime I see a love or correlation or someone trying to pay homage to the city, it means a lot to me. It means more than most people would understand. So when I saw what Adam was doing, and first off, I just loved chili. That's the other thing. It wasn't hard for me to get behind that aspect of it. But it's the chili's the Cincinnati connection, but the Cincinnati stuff is so deep rooted, and there's such much more deeper meaning than just the patch of the Three-Way on the side of the hat. And I'm sure Adam completely understands what I'm saying there. Mm-hmm. It's that kind of stuff that gets to me. So anytime I see a brand that's it feels like their heart's in the right place with Cincinnati, I'm all for it.
That means a lot, man.
I don't know that I can
I
add
was gonna say I
anything
can't
to
top
that
that off.
besides, I mean, the merchandise is it's on point. It's fire. You know, there's nothing else you can put out there. I mean, it looks good. As soon as I get it, I know it's going to fit good. Greg, I mean, you've had that hat for a week and a half, 2 weeks now.
Dude,
Is that
I've
right?
had, like I said, like I remember coming across on Twitter. I'm like, man, that hat looks cool. I got to get that. The day he texted us we're Three-Way City, I was like, hell yeah, I'm getting that hat. Like, this is something I'm so just happy that I get to wear. I mean, Adam, this is just so cool that we're officiating with this. This was just so cool. I mean, like I said, I can use this hat for any chili parlor. Cincinnati doesn't have any chili parlors. It could be anywhere. And my plan is to go to a bunch of chili parlors, take a picture with the hat and all that, do like a little collage.
Yeah, man.
So yeah, Adam, thank you for all you're doing, man.
Greg hates he hates, well, I shouldn't say he hates confrontation. At certain points he hates confrontation, and with chili parlors, he doesn't want to show favorites because he loves them all. So he hates to say, "Oh, I love Gold Star," because then Skyline might get hurt, or Camp Washington, or you know, all these places might get their feelings hurt. So now Greg really does.
I mean, Adam, you solved my whole problem, man.
Yeah, it's like, look. Yeah, that's why I tell people. For me, it's like that for me as well. It's the Cincinnati thing, and I'm always bringing it back to fashion because that's what I love.
Right.
When you think about, let's say, a three-way, right? It's like it speaks volumes to how Cincinnati does things. It's just different. So It's like, I'm gonna get a little deep here, but okay. So the rest of the world, we're doing chili with the beans. You may put over a rice or something like that, and then Cincinnati's like,
right.
Chili spaghetti sounds better. Like, so you have the cheese, you have your chili sauce on the spaghetti noodle. And so for me, that's why I think about fashion. It's like different. It's kind of like the varsity jacket, right? It's like, let's do snakeskin breast. Let's do snakeskin sleeves. It's like, that's Three-Way City. Let's do it different. Let's do it our way, right? You don't have to do it this way. And when I think of Cincinnati chili, that's that culture, all these guys that just come from the same high school and they just like, you know what, we're going to do it this way. You know what I'm saying? Let's do it this way. And that's kind of how I feel about Three-Way City. It's like Cincinnati, like, let's do it our way. If you like it, great. If you don't, great. It's our thing, right?
Right. Well, every once in a while, Greg does fly off the handle. And he gets very passionate about something. And when he does that, we call it Big Savage mode.
That's my trash you done made, so you bagged him. I'm a savage. Yeah. Classy, bougie, ratchet. Yeah. Sassy, moody, nasty.
I get a little out of hand sometimes, just a little bit.
Passionate, man.
Yes.
Look, I'm a passionate fan and all that, man. Like you said, I love my city. And this just represents so well and all that, like I said. But yeah, no, I get a little passionate. Like after a Bengals win, I get a little excited. Let's put it that way. That's all I'm going to say. I get a little excited. Or if the Bengals, like when the Bengals signed Orlando Brown a couple weeks ago, I got a little excited and all that. And Zeke Elliott, who's a free agent, I'm kind of campaigning big to get him here. I'm sure if you find me on social media, I'm on. Let's just say I wouldn't complain if we got Zeke Elliott. So yeah, I get very passionate. Yeah.
Hey, you know what? Zeke might be able to wear that crop top.
Yeah, he would.
I 100% am going to buy one.
He would wear Zeke's trademark is this crop top, dude. You need to help me out here, man. Let's do
that. That is so funny.
Could you imagine?
That'd be awesome.
Zeke Elliott.
I started the hashtag Zeke Natty and all that. It's not spreading, but I'm still keeping the faith up. So.
Oh my God.
But it's not going anywhere.
Oh my God, Matt, you're late to the show, man. Don't get him started on Midwest Best.
I already did.
I already did it.
We've already been down that road, Matt.
Oh my God.
Yeah, man, you're way too late. You're way too late, Matt. It's all we've already told him, Matt. He's already
there, man.
Yep.
We there.
That's right. Well, Adam, how much time you got? You good, or you want to go
Man,
ahead?
I just want to say thank you first. I definitely got to conclude for your support, for the opportunity, continuing what I've felt the last 7 months here in Cincinnati, just warm embrace, and just thank you guys, man.
Hey, thank you.
So don't forget, everybody, 3waycity.com. We've got it scrolling down on the bottom there, www.3waycity.com. They've got all of this merchandise on there, all of it,
And more to come.
That's
more
right.
to come. I will be at the markets, the festivals, everywhere. I need your bodies.
Well,
disappear.
do you plan on, when Bengals season starts, do you plan on being at any tailgates or anything?
Yeah, so I'm researching. What will be big for me is if I can somehow get into Bengals Gyms tailgate and be there. That would be like huge. I've thought about that. I've also thought about just being outside the games, being a vendor. I talked to a few vendors out there as well. The process and what I need to do to be legally out there, so they're not embarrassing me and telling me to pack my stuff up and get up out there.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, it's like I said, a lot of things I've thought about. I do plan on doing it, but just pacing myself. I know it's a marathon, and I want this thing to last. So I'm patient.
Absolutely. Well, I mean, after talking with you, and obviously we love your product, but after speaking with you today, I don't see how that's not going to happen. So it's gonna just keep going up like that.
Dude,
I appreciate that. I received that, man.
It's gonna keep going up top. I can guarantee, as all three of us. Well, I know James lives in Paris. So all three of us grow up Cincinnati. I promise you, this will keep expanding.
James still grew up here. He's just a transplant at this point.
Yeah. Well, Adam, thanks again, man. We really appreciate you coming on.
Thank you so much.
Welcome anytime you want. Anytime you want to hop on, you just let us know. We'll send you the link, and you can join us anytime.
Absolutely.
I appreciate you, brothers.
Absolutely. Have a good one. All right, we'll see you. Man, how awesome is he?
That's awesome. I mean, I'm just so happy to be here. This is so cool. Like, I was really telling the truth when Santori texted us one day where we're going to be with 3-Way City. I literally jumped for joy. I was like, "Are you kidding? Are you serious?" And all that.
Yeah,
I went to Savage Mode when nobody saw me or anything.
We do have to tell Adam that Skyline does come over to Lot 1, so he should come over there.
Yeah,
3-Way City hat would do well.
Yes, it would do very well.
Mm-hmm.
So, all right. So there was a signing today.
Santori, you want to give us Santori? You seemed really like you approved it. Can you give us a rundown? What your take on the Sidney Jones signing is about? All right, that narrows it down. I'm just kidding.
No, he's someone that I really liked coming out of the draft process.
Me.
He got hurt during the pre-draft process, unfortunately. And then some of the places he went, he just kind of got buried. Kind of think of it like a Hayden Hurst thing, where he's just never really got to be with a team for more than a few years, and never really got a chance to start for more than 1 year with one team, and he's kind of bounced around.
Well, you tweeted something on Twitter. I liked what you said. It was about a player who got the right coaching. You know what I'm talking about?
I said a talented player in the wrong situation will not even see 50% of his potential. But a talented player in the right situation is going to ball out.
Foxy, that's pretty good.
Foxy, that's an excellent point, man. But yeah, no, Santori, yeah, I saw that, man, and I said, yeah, that's a great point right there. I think we can all agree. If Lou says he wants someone, I think I said this earlier when I started Bengals Brews. I don't care if it's a guy with no legs or no arms. I'm signing that guy if Lou wants him.
Well, when we first had Eli Apple, everybody was like, "Oh my God, what are we doing?" I was like, "No." I said, Lou made it work with Eli in New York. As much as people didn't like him because of his mouth in New York, Eli did well in New York. Tell me a DB Lou's brought in that hasn't worked.
Now, Santori, here's my question. Would he be replacing Flowers or Eli Apple's role if between those two?
My guess would be Apple, because Flowers doesn't play outside.
Okay. That's what I I didn't know if he would be. I know Flowers visited Atlanta. I know he didn't sign yet. That would have been my guess. So could you still see Eli Apple coming back?
At this point, no.
Gotcha.
It'd be
It'd be redundant.
hard to see. Yeah.
It would be redundant and a waste of money.
Gotcha. Now, we have two other guys visiting today. Two defensive. Well, I think one was a linebacker. One was a D lineman. I forget their names. Do any of those two guys interest you at all?
I don't know who it was. I have been impeccably busy today. I haven't seen anything.
It was Street was his last name.
Yeah, hold on. Got my laptop here just in case of emergency.
Just in case of
Hey, Field Yates. I got to be like you, Santor. I have to have some type of computer here. I mean, come on. Let's see here. Give me 1 sec. Bengals hosted Terrell Bashan, DL, and DT Kentavious Street today.
Terrell Basham?
Yeah.
Terrell, yes.
Like Boogie Basham?
If that's who you're referring to, I assume so. Uh-oh, he's getting curious now. I like this. This is a good sign here, fans.
Wait,
No.
what was his first name?
It's not Boogie Basham. That's a different one.
Oh, that's a joke? Okay.
No, Boogie Basham's an actual player. These are
Yeah, his name's Carlos Basham.
Hey, I thought that was a joke.
I don't know anything about this guy. I'll be 100% honest.
L Basham, Basham.
Know how to spell his name. I just don't know anything about him.
And the other guy is Kentavious Street. Kentavious Street was with the Saints. He actually is, no, he's an interior. He's a good 3T interior guy. He's a good depth piece. He's no Geno Atkins, but he's still a good interior depth piece.
Good to spell BJ Hill or DJ, I guess. Yeah, there you go.
There you go.
It's the first thing I've eaten today is a piece of pizza.
I take it you're starving.
I am dying.
All right, so kind of hit on that real quick. Not a whole lot to talk about with those guys, but
Kind of hit on that. I am dying. What do we want to talk about?
yeah, right. We're just going to gloss over that part. So we've got today special teams. Not a whole lot, but there are three guys right now.
2 of the 3 are fine. Get a punter.
Yep.
Oh, that never.
We'll start with Drew Chrisman.
Get a punter.
I've been of the team, whatever you want to call it, of get an undrafted free agent and go that route, then have a competition. I don't want to waste I shouldn't say waste a draft pick, but I don't want to spend a draft pick on a punter if you don't have to. Because we only have 7.
Can I disagree with you?
Well, yeah, but my rationale is we've only got 7 picks this year. It's not like we've got 11 like we've had in the past where you can spend
7 right now.
Huh?
You got 7 right now. You're a 3rd round trade back from having a free punter.
This is true. Now, if we did that, I wouldn't be opposed. But since we only have 7 picks, I would rather not do that. But go ahead, Santor.
I think one's going to be there in the 7th round. And I know the 7th round doesn't get a whole lot of attention just because a lot of times, I don't know the numbers, but I would say less than 40% of those guys even make the team.
Yeah.
When you start looking at those numbers like that, well, there's a 40% chance this guy's going to make the team. Well, I need a punter. There's a 100% chance this guy's going to make the team. That's not a wasted pick to me.
No, it's not.
Well, that's why I changed my wording. I didn't mean to say wasted. I just meant spend.
Waste. Wasteful.
But now, if we did trade back and let's say we got a 3rd and a 7th, an extra 3rd and a 7th, yeah, let's roll. Let's grab one.
Now, Santori, let me ask you something. So, as Zach Taylor got interviewed today, he says he fully expects Jonah to be on the Bengals the next year. Are you fully convinced that he's going to be on the Bengals? Or are you still thinking
That's coach speak.
get traded?
Is he going to punt?
That's
Sorry.
It's okay, but no. That's coach speak. They fully intended on him being the left tackle up to 3 weeks ago. You never know.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Just making sure and all that and stuff. But sorry about that, changing the subject. But yeah, no. We, you know what?
Zach, Zach is going to say that about every player at every position.
Gotcha.
Because if he doesn't, there's a problem.
Yeah, you don't want to ruffle any feathers.
I mean, if you asked him about, like, give me someone that's, like, actually on the roster bubble. We'll say, like, Hakeem Adeniji.
Yeah.
Right.
Would it surprise people if he got cut? No. Would it surprise people if he's still here on the back end of the roster? No. That's a bubble guy, right?
Mm-hmm.
Is Zach going to be like, no, I don't anticipate him being here? Like, of course not. Yes, I anticipate him being here. It's for every single person that's already been here, it's their job to lose.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
The other thing is, I have to try to replace you. Here's the thing. Jonah Williams is not the left tackle right now, but God forbid if Orlando Brown twists his ankle playing pickup basketball tomorrow, Jonah's your left tackle again.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
There's a reason he ain't gone.
I agree. Cal Adamitis.
He's cute.
Oh. No Clark Harris?
Wait, what'd you say?
No Clark Harris? I'm just kidding.
Clark,
No, I mean, he's a young
he's
guy.
like 89 years old in football years, and is his bicep healthy? I don't know. Probably, but who knows?
Yeah, that's one.
I think this is Cal's job to lose for the next 10 years.
Yeah, there's been zero rumblings.
As long as Cal doesn't go down the Brad St. Louis route, I think he's got the most secure job in sports for the next 12 years.
Yeah,
Mhm.
pretty much.
Yeah, and there's been no talks about Clark Harris at all either. Like nothing. No rumblings or nothing.
No, Cal, this kid's got he's got one of the best jobs in sports. You're not allowed to touch him. He only has to do one thing, which is the most repeatable motion in football, because it's throwing a football. You just get to throw it with two hands.
Mm-hmm.
Ask anybody who's ever trained a long snapper or trained with a long snapper. It's throwing a football between your legs. They'll say the same thing. Rocket it up through your groin is what they tell you.
That sounds painful.
And it's really not.
No, it's just a joke.
He'll be okay. Snapper is probably a harder job, or not snapper. Holder's probably a harder job. Kicker's probably the hardest job. He's got the easiest of the three. You're not allowed to touch him. He's like 23 years old, and he's going to make like $800,000 to $1 million for the next 10 to 12 years of his life.
Yep.
I envy that man. And he gets to play in an organization that looks like a perennial Super Bowl contender for the foreseeable future.
What's there to complain, right?
Yeah, he's like got fucking made, man.
But you know what we learned? We all learned, because remember when people were like, when Clark Harris got hurt, oh, just have Ted Karras do it. He explained to people that it's a big difference between being the center and a long snapper.
I would never ask my center to be the long snapper because I'm not about to mess up his muscle memory.
Mm-hmm.
There you go. That's what people were saying. I'm like, it's not.
Why I don't want baseball players playing golf in the middle of the season. Okay,
Yeah.
there goes your swing, buddy.
100%.
I think the majority of the time, a long snapper is a tight end, because I think Clark Harris was a tight end, and when they try to have Wilcox do it, even though with a little bit of practice he struggled and it didn't go too well. But normally it's a tight end that's a long snapper, I've noticed.
It's because they're longer.
That's right. Okay.
They have long arms.
Long snapper.
They're typically not they're not a fat guy, so you don't have to worry about the width for the legs with snapping the ball through it. They're typically leaner. You don't have to worry about them getting hit. They typically are taller, which allows for length and extension on the snap. If it's not going to be a tight end, it's going to be a defensive end, and I'm not putting a pass rusher in that situation.
Right.
Absolutely.
Fourth string tight end, all right. Number 4 defensive end, no.
Yeah.
Money back.
Now
Nice.
look, Dab was very hard on him this last year. Bengal Dab was, but I mean, does he deserve to lose his job? Did he even get competition? I don't think so.
No.
More
Dad
than
was just mad that he missed at 1.5 of 8 kicks, which is very reasonable to be upset.
Mm-hmm.
The thing with Evan, and people don't realize this, is he is something that I call a pool kicker. he kicks and the ball tails toward his kick side of his body. And I'm sure Shane Graham's got a much better analysis of that than I do. But his ball tends to pull to the left. It tails to the left. When he's hitting them right down the freaking middle, when you've got that pull, it's almost like a golfer with a slight slice that still lands it in the middle of the fairway. And you're like, wow, all right, look at that bend to it. Evan is getting ready to go bad when he starts making them, and they're like going like this through the upright, and they're like just barely kind of wrapping around it. And it's like, ooh, he's getting close to missing them. And there's no way to really readjust that because that's timing. And for when people go, oh, just aim more to the right, that's a horrible idea. That's how you fuck up your entire season. It's just something you're going to have to work through. And when you generate as much power with that soccer style kick that Evan generates, you're going to have some tail and pull to it. Unless you're Justin Tucker, who is the greatest kicker of all time, and no one's going to argue that, you're going to have pull to your kick. It's just going to be part of who Evan is. Occasionally, he's going to miss him. And when he misses, he doesn't, like, fucking shank him into the third row. It's like, just misses it. It's like, damn it. Or he'll clank it. I've seen him hit the flag on the top of the goalpost against Green Bay. He's fine. He's one of the best kickers in the league. He's not I wouldn't even consider him a veteran yet. He's still going to learn and figure it out and get better. He'll be all right.
I wonder how often he talks to Shane.
Kickers talk to everybody constantly.
Yeah.
But they have nothing else to do except kick and talk.
Yep.
There's that and watch halftime. They got nothing else to do.
Yeah.
Oh goodness. Well, that was very quick with the special teams. It's not like there's a whole lot to talk about. I mean, we could have dove into Michael Thomas as a special teams captain and doing all that kind of stuff. But
well, Santori, I know I fit in Jonah Williams between. I should have waited to ask you after Jonah Williams. I got a little too excited and all that and stuff. But like I said, like Zach Taylor, I didn't see the whole thing, but he got interviewed today. And like you said, it's like last week. Remember how he was asked about Zeke? Everybody's like, "Oh, they're not going to have Zeke." He's like, but I'm like, all he said was when he said, "I'm happy with my team." Like you say, he's not going to say stuff like, "Oh, we really want to sign this guy." Like you said, he has to speak.
Like, what good does it do if Zach Taylor goes, "Yeah, Chris Evans needs a replacement"?
Yeah,
you're going to piss off Chris Evans. Everyone in that locker room is going to go, "The fuck did you just say? What are you going to say it about me?"
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
It turns so fucking fast. The coach is the leader of the team. No one's going to dispute that. It's not the authoritarian style that it used to be back in the 60s, 70s, 80s, hell, even part of the 90s.
Mm-hmm.
You're very much a coworker at this point. You may be like, if you got, some people work in units at work where it's like, hey, there's like a 1A, 1B situation. Burrow and Zach are like 1A, 1B, and quite frankly, some days I'm not sure which one's which. Everybody else is 1C. There's no, here's the thing. Coaches can't coach without players. Players aren't going to be in the right spot without good coaching. It's just what it is. You can have the most talented guys in the world, but if you got a shit staff and a terrible game plan, they're going to lose. Show me the worst team in the history of the NFL, and I guarantee you they had more than enough talent to win at least half their games.
Yeah.
It's just everybody's talented enough. Sometimes you need the right coaching. But even if you got great coaching, you can win with shit players. If you've got great players, sometimes you can't really win with shit coaching. So the coach at the end of the day is going to be, the guy that does deserve a lot of the credit. But at the same time, the coach is never going to take credit because he knows he's nothing without his guys.
Mm-hmm. I think Zach does a really good job with that too. Right? Like you said, he's not that hammer it home kind of guy. He's more of the players coach, if you will.
I wouldn't even call it that.
Yeah, and I don't even like to say that, but I mean that's about the.
I have a very negative connotation about players coaches when I think of them.
Mm-hmm.
Players coaches get walked on, man, and a lot of times you'll hear, "Oh, that guy's such a great players coach." Sure, how many rings does he have? Most of the time, it's none. The guy I always heard was a great players coach. Took him fucking 40 years to win a World Series ring, and that was Dusty.
There you go.
It just took a fucking loaded-ass team to do it. Great players coach. Well, he had Barry Bonds and couldn't figure it out.
Yeah, sir. I mean,
Great players coach. He had the 2012 Reds, couldn't figure it out. 2010 Reds couldn't figure it out. He had the Cubs humming and ended up in the fucking Bartman category. Like, it's just
well, look at the Say, Troy, look at the Nationals. He inherited a great Nationals team after he got fired by the Reds, didn't he?
Yep, and couldn't make it happen. Like,
No.
I've never seen a manager with so many loaded teams barely get the job done one time at the tail end of his career, but everybody loves him. He may have been a great guy to play for. You got all kinds of off days. They were scheduled. There was no pressure. There's never an expectation to win a ring. I mean, I guess that's a player's coach. I don't know. Dusty drove me insane. You'd have a guy who I don't know how many times I saw where Jay Bruce would have back-to-back games with a home run, and then he'd bench him, and he goes, "Oh, it's a scheduled off day." Fucking why? He's hotter than hell.
Right.
Bench him when he strikes out 3 times. Give him the day then. You don't bench him in the middle of a hit streak.
Remember when they asked him, why don't you, reorganize the batting order? Well, if you do that, you're still going to have the same players. What's the difference? I'm like, well, that's just stupid. If you reorganize it, maybe this guy does better hitting it. Remember that? This guy does better hitting this spot or that spot. You know what I'm saying?
There's 2 rules of thought. I'll side with Dusty on that one. And my dad will side with me on this one too. And we couldn't stand this from a few former managers. There were times where seemingly you could throw a dart at the fucking wall and guess the lineup for the Reds. It would change every single day. There was no consistency. Look at teams that win the World Series and look at their lineups. With the exception of somebody had an off day, so I really don't want my number 4 hitter being, the backup first baseman, so I'll shift 1 or 2 people around, or maybe everybody just goes down a peg kind of thing. Lineups for championship teams are almost always the same, day in and day out. Consistency breeds success. If you don't know what your job is going into the day, you're not going to be good at it. James, if I told you tomorrow, I know you're not going to be a manager tomorrow at your store, but I'll tell you what you are when you show up. I haven't made the lineup yet. Or how can you have any kind of success at your job? People prep for the next day 3 days before in sports. So when you're constantly changing the lineup, especially in baseball, I mean, if you subscribe to old school baseball, get them on, get them over, get them in. Well, okay, I'm used to being the guy that's supposed to be getting them in, and now I'm the number 1 hitter, and I got to be patient and not aggressive. And I don't have protection behind me that I normally do because I'm used to having Bruce behind me, and now it's fucking Felipe Lopez, and it's you get all kinds of just bullshit that gets thrown into it with baseball. There's so much strategy and so much of that spot in the lineup is not just a guy going up to hit. That spot in the lineup has a specific role, table set. Every 3 innings, it's going to wrap back around. So when you're constantly changing what someone's approach is and constantly changing what someone's, what their job is. I mean, I understand putting someone in the number 2 hole because they're likely to see more fastballs if Joey Votto is batting third, and that might help them get out of a slump. That's one of those things people try. But my God, if you got someone that's like that killed me, the Cubs used to do this. They're like, hey, we're going to bat Anthony Rizzo leadoff for the next month. Why? He's a 30-40 home run guy. You want guys on in front of him. And he's a strikeout guy. You don't want to lead your inning off with a strikeout. Are you insane?
Nope. Same thing about Alfonso Soriano with the Cubs. That was the stupidest. He was a 5-tool player, and they were batting him leadoff. It's like you're using 1 out of 4. I never understood why they did that.
I mean, I could go on for hours about baseball theory, so we really don't need to dive down that rabbit hole because I'm just going to get upset.
Why did Dusty play Corey Patterson when he was batting? Remember, he's like, I didn't realize he was batting under 200. I'm like, Then how do we all realize he was?
I don't know. There's always that stupid rumor going around that Corey Patterson was dating Dusty's like niece or something. I don't subscribe to any of that.
I know Santori doesn't agree or doesn't think that they will.
Any chance the Reds could sneak out a wild card run?
No.
Rune, whatever money you were going to put on the Reds to go on a wild card run, just light it on fire.
Yep.
It's going to serve you better use.
Yep, pretty much.
Here's the deal. The Reds have Hunter Green as their ace, who's never finished a season. Lodolo is their 2, who's never finished a season. Ashcraft is their 3, who's never finished a season. Their number 4 is Overton, who's never finished a season. Their number 5 is Luis Sessa, who is not a starter until this season, so he's never finished a season as a starter. You have no idea what's going on at shortstop. Your top 2 prospects that were ringing it in during spring training are now hurt, one with a herniated disc, one with a hamstring issue. You have no closer on the roster, so even if you get a lead in the 7th or 8th inning, you're not keeping it.
Yep.
Is Diaz not the closer?
Diaz has never been a closer. He's been an 8th inning guy, and they're going to force him into that role, and we're going to see how that goes.
Well, that's what I was saying. I think that they're going to use him like that. I'm not saying that he's been that before, but
you've got 5 starting pitchers who have never completed a season, and a closer who's never closed. On top of that, you have an offense who was historically bad last year that they brought back. Joey Votto's not ready for the season. He's a shell of himself, 39 years old, whatever it is. Will Myers is Adam Dunn with less pop out in right field. Maybe Spencer Steer will be okay. Is Jonathan India going to finish the season, or is he going to get hurt? Is Stevenson going to finish the season, or is he going to keep getting hurt?
What about Senzel?
Yes, Senzel, the fucking human glass doll. I mean, do you have any middle relievers that can hold down the fort? I mean, there's not 1 ounce of this team that excites me for immediate success or sustainability. You have a lot of young talent that won't be here in 4 years when it's time to pay them, because that's the way the Reds operate. So wake me up in 3.5 years when these guys have matured and they have a good enough team to make the run then.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I'm penciling them in for 90 to 100 losses for the next 2 to 3 years.
I'll bet that. I was saying, what was I going to say?
Go up and down that roster. There's not 1 bona fide solid veteran that's going to lead this team.
Yeah. But you said, Tori, you were talking about closer. I know we shouldn't get too deep into baseball, but remember Amir Garrett? I've said for years, make Garrett the closer. Every time he came in, did well. But once we gave Garrett the closer role, that's when he started going downhill. I didn't realize what happened after that.
Because closer is a mentality.
Mm-hmm.
That is a fucking bulldog mentality. Closers close. They don't do anything else. They're not 8th inning guys later in their career. They're not 7th inning guys. They're not starters. They want the ball, and they want to rip your fucking face off with it. And they can go all out, 110% max effort for about 20 pitches because they know there's a really good chance they're not playing tomorrow. And they can do that every single time they come in. It is pure adrenaline. It is pure attitude. It is pure, I want it more than you. It is not the marathon grind that baseball normally is. That is like a fucking blitzing middle linebacker, end of the game, over the goal line in the 4th quarter. You have to destroy this guy or the game's over. That's what a closer is. There's not 1 person in the entire Cincinnati organization, all the way down to single A, to my knowledge, that has that fucking rip your face off mentality.
Let's go through, the entire MLB. How many closers are there really now? It's a lost art form. There's about
10 of them. That's why you see so many blown saves.
Yeah. All these teams are going away from it. You know, you got is it Edwin Diaz with the Mets who just got hurt?
Mm-hmm.
He is now, like, he was a closer, and now he's hurt, and now he's not going to play the rest of the year.
Look at teams that win the World Series. They have 2 or 3 dominant starters. They have enough of an offense, typically a clutch offense, Not necessarily a blow the freaking barn doors off offense, but a timely offense. And they have a hellacious bullpen.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's one of those things where everybody always talks about the Nasty Boys. The Nasty Boys and that 90 team, that's the quintessential build for a World Series roster. You've got a couple good starters. You've got players that are pretty timely and kind of electric and fun to watch in the field.
Mm-hmm.
You've got a couple veterans. You've got a couple young guys. And then your bullpen is, oh, shit, we're losing in the sixth, pack it in. Because these fuckers ain't going to give up a run.
Right.
No.
Your money in baseball goes to pitching. The Reds currently have $70 million in payroll, and 45 of it is going to two guys that are currently not playing. And they have spent zero money on their bullpen. Everybody in their bullpen is pre-arbitration right now. They are so bass-ackward when building that team. There's no chance of them competing anytime in the near future. If you want to go down to Great American Ballpark, have an overpriced hot dog and an overpriced beer, sit in left field and get sunburnt and enjoy the organ playing, I understand. It's an American pastime. It's fun to do, whatever. If you are actually planning on sitting at home and watching 162 games for the Reds this year, I feel bad for your marriage, man. Because it's going down in fucking flames.
Santori is brutal.
Yeah.
I agree with you, man. I mean, that's just the truth.
And I love the Reds more than I love the Bengals. I love baseball more than I love football. Baseball just has that intimate father-son connection that you just don't necessarily get in other places. It was the sport that I was actually halfway okay at growing up. There's just something innocent about baseball that anybody can sit down and enjoy it. Anyone. And it's maybe it sounds brutal the way I'm tearing at the Reds right now, but you are baseball. You are the first fucking team. You've been here longer than anyone else. You are supposed to be the big red machine and this historical landmark in the face of baseball. You're nothing. Where else are you going to go? I'm going to walk my happy ass down the banks, get a beer, and continue into the giant, lovely orange Paycor Stadium and watch that team contend for a championship. It's pathetic with the Reds. I can't understand. I can understand people loving the Reds. I'm still going to watch a few games here and there.
Mm-hmm.
But I'll tell you what, I canceled cable so I could force myself to not watch. The only reason I have cable is to watch the Reds. I canceled it. Because I don't want to get sucked into that every night.
I did too, Santori.
It's not a bandwagon thing because, my God, I want them to be good. There's nothing more exciting in my life than when my sports teams are good. Just going down to Great American Ballpark and being in a tight game situation in the 7th or 8th inning, 2 outs, you're batting, runner on first base, and someone hits a fucking gap shot in the left center field, and fucking here come the horses. They're running around like crazy. That stadium goes berserk. It's so much fucking fun. And they just suck it away from you.
Dude.
There's more excitement in a 5th grade t-ball game or whatever. There's nothing to root for. All the players they're paying aren't even here. Votto, $25 million, hurt. Will Myers, he's going to make $6 million this year. He's probably going to get hurt. He gets hurt a lot. You got Ken Griffey Jr., 4th most paid player on the team. He's been retired since he's played for the Reds in fucking 15 years.
There's a lot of teams that do that.
Moustakas, they're paying him $22 million to not play.
Oh, my God.
Do you know there is a combined 20 players on the Reds team making less than $10 million this year?
Hey, Santori, though, what do you
Not
think?
$10 million each. $10 million combined. 80% of our roster makes less than most average Major League Baseball players. It's pathetic.
Well, and that's a front office thing.
Hey, Santori, what do you
That's why
say?
it's not going to change.
Right.
Well, Santori, so what do you say? He's like, well, Greg, NFL's different. There's a salary cap. Baseball, the Reds can't help it. There is no salary cap. They're a smaller market team, Greg. They
There's
can't.
some truth to that. Some truth.
Yeah.
Okay. And I'm going to give you a perfect example of why that there's some, but not a ton.
Right.
Who's the team that you hate most in Major League Baseball?
Oh, Cardinals.
Yankees.
Cardinals rarely pay more than the Reds.
Yankees.
Cardinals.
Dodgers. You could throw them.
Cardinals and Reds payroll
Just barely.
No. For the most part, the Cardinals and the Reds have both been around 150 to 160 million a year. Maybe the low point, the Reds were at 115. They're typically pretty damn close to each other. They're within the reasonable distance of each other if I asked for a salary cap in baseball. But the Cardinals are a World Series contender every goddamn year.
Since 2000 at least.
Yeah, they're good. They understand it.
That's incredible.
They spend the same amount of money. But you know what the Cardinals don't do that the Reds did do, which fucked them real hard?
What's that?
The Cardinals had a first baseman who was ready to make about $300 million, and they said, adios. I can't afford that with my budget. The Reds got so goddamn scared they backed the truck up and handcuffed themselves. You can't do that. If you can only spend $125 million a year, $30 million should not be going to one guy. It's irresponsible, especially when that guy's not a pitcher. The Cardinals always pay their pitchers. They always have young guys at the back of the bullpen that are ready to rock and roll, and they have 2 or 3 veterans in the middle of their lineup that scare the shit out of you. And sometimes they find a way for other teams to pay for that guy. It's just, there's ways to be productive. There's ways to make it happen. No, are they going to outspend the Mets? Fuck no. Are they going to outspend the Yankees and Red Sox and Cubs? No. But here's the other thing. I know the Cubs got their ring and we didn't. But my God, how much money have the Cubs spent to suck for most of the last 100 years? You don't need to spend a ton of money to win in baseball. You need to have consistent, solid players and management that understands how to get the most out of them.
That's why a salary floor would be a little bit more.
I don't even need a salary floor. I see teams that spend $40 million that are better than the Reds.
Hey, my A's.
Look at the A's. The A's have a lower payroll right now than when they filmed Moneyball 22 years ago. They're still good.
Yeah.
The Reds, this is the weird thing about the Reds. They spend for an analytical approach and don't fucking use analytics.
So what you're saying is they analytically spend, but they don't actually use it on the field.
No, what I'm saying is they rarely spend money, and when they do, they spend it on a bunch of fucking rejects and has-beens.
Yeah, that's true. Okay. So were you against the Moustakas signing?
At the time, I liked it because $20 million is okay for a guy in the middle of your lineup, and we had a decent pitching staff at the time, and we had all kinds of young talent coming up. They were 2 pieces in the bullpen away from winning a World Series if they'd have got their shit together.
Well, that was during the COVID year. The COVID year just screwed us up big time, man. We had a team set up that COVID year, and
the COVID year affected everybody.
Yeah.
The Reds act like they can't recover from it, and the Mets are out here just buying everybody.
Yeah, right, exactly.
Here's the thing. COVID's over, especially for sports. Okay? There are some people that still get COVID. I got it. It's okay.
I have to.
We're not in this worldwide crazy pandemic anymore. Maybe I'm going to piss people off by saying it. I know people still get sick. I know there's some people that still die. It's not nearly to the effect that it was. You can go to a baseball game now. It's okay. We're allowed to go to the mall and the movies, okay? If you're still using COVID as a fucking excuse for why you don't have money to participate in Major League Baseball and the Reds are, that's guys, it's been almost half a decade. But let's fucking move on. The COVID outbreak happened in 2019. It's 2023.
Well, 2020 when it started, right?
March of 2020. It hit China in October of 19.
Yeah, but I'm talking about here. So
But still, the world was starting to shut down. I'm tired of the Reds using that as a crutch. It's been half a decade.
yeah, well, yeah,
It's bullshit. If you can't figure out how to manage your money 5 years later, there's a problem.
But no, Santor, what I'm tired of is that my one buddy's a Reds fan, hates the Bengals, and I give him credit for being honest at least. But he's like, why is it that you let Mike Brown get away with stuff, but you all of a sudden you're getting on the Reds now? Because I never heard Mike Brown ever say, where are you going to go or anything. I have never, unless maybe your dad.
We didn't have podcasts when I hated Mike Brown.
Right.
Or you would have heard such more vile things spewed from my mouth than whatever I just said about the Reds.
Right.
Because the Bengals did have a salary cap.
Mm-hmm.
That's what irritated the fuck out of me with the Bengals.
Yeah.
You're allowed to spend this. No one's allowed to spend more than you. Spend.
Yeah.
Like, well, all right, then lose.
Where was that money going anyway? I don't get that. Where like the money they didn't spend, they were allowed to spend. Where does that go if you don't spend it? Does it just roll over to next year's cap, or
you were allowed to roll over some of it? The rumor was it just went back in their pocket.
Oh, I did not know that. I don't know how the whole thing goes. So, but whatever.
I mean, it's at the end of the day, it's team cash, right? All that cap is how much of your personal money are you allowed to spend? That's all it is.
Yeah.
It's just like if this is such a juvenile way of looking at it. If your mom came up to you and you had $100 in your bank account and she goes, "You're only allowed to spend 25 of that," and you went, "Okay, I'm only going to spend 20." You still got the other $80 in your bank. Didn't go anywhere. It's just cash again next time around.
Yep.
Oh, it is.
I'm more optimistic than you.
You're welcome to be. I am a purely results-driven person.
Everything you say, I agree with, man. But like you said, I love the Reds too, man. I love looking forward to the season, man. I just can't. I'm sad that I can't really much anymore.
I don't know. We've got a young team.
Yeah.
We've got essentially one really old guy.
Yep.
And he's probably going to retire after this year. And this year, yeah, they may not be very good, but I think next year they're going to be pretty solid. And
all right, James, I hope
to say that these guys haven't finished seasons, well, there's a first time for everything. Why can't it be this year? That's the way I'm choosing to look at it. I understand if you look at it the other way.
James, I hope you're right. And I respect the fact you.
James, I hope to hell you're right. I say that I hope I'm wrong.
Yeah,
because I hate being right when I'm negative. I hate it.
Yeah,
because then people come up to me like, "Oh, I bet you're happy." Fuck no, I'm not happy.
Just quit being negative. No,
I want to win.
No, I just choose to look at it a different way. I understand if people look at it the other way. But you know, do
you want to know why I choose to look at it my way as opposed to your way? Because I could very well look at it that way.
So you don't get disappointed?
It hurts too fucking much to get your hopes up and for them to suck the way that they do.
I get
it. It hurts so damn much. And I do not have, and maybe this is just me, I do not have the mental strength to deal with that. I can remember being 16 years old and just being so agitated and just punching a brick wall over and over and over again. We won the game, but I couldn't stand the way that they were playing. It was pathetic. I cannot stand when teams look completely incompetent and then they set themselves up like that. And to your point where you're like, yeah, they have a young team. There's really only one older guy. I agree with that. The issue is I agreed with that in 2002 and in 2006 and in 2008 and in 2009. They hit it in 12. They hit it in 10. They hit it kind of in 13. And then I agreed with that in like 15. And then I agreed with it in 19. And now it's like I've agreed with this multiple times, and not fucking once has it worked out. And the issue is every 3 and 4 years we got to do the same fucking cycle because they just won't pay their guys. Even guys that they have what I consider highly affordable contracts. Winker did not get paid.
No,
Suarez was already under wraps. Castillo was not anything out of the range of possibility.
I agree 100% with that.
You could have kept all of those guys, kept your payroll the same, and none of this would be going on right now.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
At some point, the ownership needs to go, look, there are moves that win, there are moves that keep fans happy, and there are moves that destroy your fan base, whether they make sense or not. You avoid that last column.
Right.
The Reds went full bore on that last column. They didn't give a flying fuck who they pissed off.
Santori, why do you think Dick Williams? He said he didn't want to deal with the stress. Why do you think? Do you personally have an opinion why Dick Williams quit? Do you think he got tired of dealing with management? Do you think?
100%.
Yeah, because he turned the team around.
Dick Williams was not really doing a bad job.
No,
personally speaking.
he was doing a great job.
He came from the Cardinals. Jocketty came from the Cardinals. You know, they brought all of these guys in from the organization that knew how to win. Castellini came from the Cardinals.
Yeah.
The only difference is Castellini did not follow the path the Cardinals set out. That's why he's here. That's why people defect. They think they can do it different and better and want their chance.
Yeah.
And he brought his guys with him, and it didn't fucking work.
Right.
And those guys all took lesser roles couple years in. That's not a coincidence. The only guys that haven't taken lesser roles are the guys that started the program. Everybody else is taking lesser roles, quitting, retiring, moving on, fading away into the sunset. The guys they brought in had wild success. They had key pieces in the front office and got rid of them when shit backfired. And here's the deal, and I know this for a fucking fact. Maybe this sounds like a cocky thing to say. I don't know, but I'll say it just for the credibility of it. I don't have too many degrees of separation from one of the Castellinis. Okay? We'll end it there. It's like maybe 1 or 2 degrees. Like, wouldn't be really hard to get a hold of them if I needed to. During the COVID year, back when Disney bought Fox, if you remember, Fox allotted each team, I think it was like $30 or $40 million in cash to spend. It went very under the radar, but they said, have fucking fun. That's when the Reds loaded the fuck up with the Moustakas deal. And they went out and got, they got the Homer Bailey trade thing going on. And they brought all these guys in, if you remember that.
Oh, hell yeah.
And then COVID happened, and they lost all their fucking money. They bled, and they shot their wad. The issue is the Reds have put so much money into things like the stadium and not their product that they're still bleeding money. And they can't recover. So they've had to cut weight every single place they can. They went so full bore into one season right before COVID hit. Nobody could have predicted that. Let's be honest.
Oh, yeah.
That it just fucked them. And instead of trying to be smart about it, they just cut everybody and traded everybody that they can. They're like, we're going to start all the way over. Mm-hmm. Guys, when you're a small market team, starting all the way over is like a 7 or 8 year adventure. That's why I said, yeah, give it 2 or 3 years. They'll probably be competent, and then they're going to have to have these issues again of, okay, let's trade Bruce because we signed Brandon Phillips, or let's trade Homer Bailey or trade Cueto because we signed Homer Bailey. They're going to get into these portions where they can only keep so many of them. And the other issue with that is the Reds have a tendency to wait until the last year of the guy's contract before they trade them, and they're basically rental players. They can't get anything for them. The Reds don't have the clairvoyance to look into the future and say, this guy's not going to be here. Maximize him while we can and then get as much for return as possible. Instead, they wait till the very, very end. It all implodes and they go to hell for 2 or 3 years, and then they have to try and build themselves back up. Other players have said it. I mean, when all of these guys got traded, Wade Miley came out and said exactly what I'm saying right now. This is a cycle for them. I'm done with the cycle. Why can't they just find a way to be consistent every year?
Yep.
It's because they either overspend or underspend. And when they overspend, it takes too goddamn long for them to recorrect.
And that goes back to ownership and get them out.
The people leading the charge with the Reds, Bob and Phil, have no idea what they're doing. And these little puppets that they bring in, I feel terrible for Nick Kroll.
Oh, yeah.
He's forced to make all these fucking moves, and then guess what? In about a year and a half, when they have to let Votto walk, and the Moustakas bill finally comes off, and then they have to cut Will Myers next year instead of picking up a $12 million option on a $35 million player, because that's what his contract reads, 6 this year, 12 next year. Have fun with that shit. They're going to need a scapegoat, and they're going to bring in some young guy that's going to make them look good while all these young pieces are coming together, and then when it backfires, that poor fucker is going to be gone too. They use their GMs as scapegoats, or Nick Kroll is going to take one of those backseat roles. Right. It's what they do. I feel terrible for whoever the Reds hire as GM because he's not a GM. He's a puppet.
What about, is it the same thing with David Bell, do you think?
Well, he's friends with the Castellinis, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
I don't even know what's going on with David Bell.
Answer, would it really make a difference?
I don't think it matters who manages this team with the way the front office operates.
But David Bell, how many years has he had now? It's like
I don't know if Jesus Christ could manage this ball club. Because here's the deal. If you have a front office that is known for acting the way that they act and players know how it's probably going to end for them, there's no secret with how the Reds behave. You heard it from Wade Miley. You heard it from Jesse Winker. You heard it from Suarez. I mean, these guys were fucking crushed and humiliated.
Castellanos.
Yeah, Castellanos. I mean, you saw it. The entire team was fucking gutted. The word's out in Major League Baseball. If you play for the Reds, 1, you're going to lose. 2, they're going to treat you like shit when it's your time to go.
Yep.
That is a wham, bam, thank you, ma'am position in Cincinnati. Call it what it is. The players know it. The players have said it. Players from other organizations have come out and said it. It's not a great place to play. So going into your job, you already know your job's not safe. You're not going to get paid well, and you're going to get cut, traded, or sent somewhere beyond your control in 2 to 3 years. Why? How can you motivate players as a manager knowing that your boss is going to treat your employees that way?
Yep.
Your employees are never going to show up. I feel so damn bad for Joey Votto because he'll come out every year and say something along the lines of, you know, we got a great young team. It's coming together. I'm like, Joey, man, you're 39. Go chase a ring.
Yeah.
Like, you fucking deserve to win a world championship somewhere.
Absolutely.
And this team, quite frankly, has not treated you well, man. They paid you a lot of money, and that's it. I mean, they don't do events with him in Cincinnati. Maybe that's a Joey Votto thing. I don't know. He's not publicized like some of these other guys are. I mean, he had a chance to be an absolute rock star in this city or anywhere because he is one of the best hitters in the history of Major League Baseball.
Easily.
And nothing ever came of it.
Is he a first ballot Hall of Fame?
Yes.
Thank you.
It's not a question. It kills me because and that's why, James, and I'm not trying to bitch at you about it, but when you go, oh, they got this great new player coming up, I'm like, great, then go fuck him over too. Until Jeff Blake said it best, man, until you cut the snake off at the head, nothing else happens.
Yep.
And it's the same with the Bengals. I said it for years with Mike Brown. There's no coincidence at the timing of Mike Brown handing over the team and what we have now.
No way. No coincidence at all.
Until Castellini's gone, you got no shot.
I agree.
So, long story short, do they have a chance in a wild card round? Fuck no.
Hell no.
They might have a chance of making the playoffs 2 times in the next 7 years, and they will look pathetic, break your heart, and embarrass you.
But James, James, me and Santori admire you saying positive, but believe me, James, I don't speak with Santori. We both pray to God. We both pray to God you're right. They got a great young team, but we just don't try to trust the people in the driver's seat.
Oh, I understand, but I'm not going to be that negative. I'm going to be more positive about it. That's all.
Hey.
And I don't care if you guys are that way. It doesn't bother me.
No, James.
It doesn't change the way I'm going to think about it.
No, James, I admire the fact you probably love taking Mason to the games. If you have a kid, anybody out there has kids, it is so great to take your kid to a game. That's always a must. And I still, even if your team's bad, it's still fun to take your kids to a game.
That's why I don't talk about the players. I talk about the ownership. And because the players, they're playing with the hand that they're dealt.
Yeah.
They're dealing that hand. So
I got one caveat.
I don't see how, but okay. Let's see. You can change my mind, though.
Unless you decided to sign here as a free agent and you knew what you were getting into.
Well, you don't know the whole story.
I don't know the whole story.
So,
like, if it's a situation where you're like, I grew up a Reds fan, this is a chance for me to live out a childhood dream, fine. Understand it, because I fucking would too. I would be, as much as I bitch, I'd be the first person in that goddamn front line signing my name to play under Castellini, because it's the Reds, not Castellini.
Right.
The Reds are bigger than Castellini, and I can't wait until he's gone.
Yep.
The history is bigger than him. So, yeah, I get that. But if your true intention is to win a championship, I question anything about you if you decide to sign with the Reds.
Yes.
Because it's not happening.
So do you think that the players aren't putting out their all?
I think they're putting
because they choose to come here?
Some guys do it for the love of the game, and maybe this was their only offer. I don't know. I know people do use the Reds as kind of a launching pad, if you will. It's a small ballpark, and I'm going to get paid somewhere else next year.
It's like Joe Burrow and tight ends.
Yeah.
Right. I get that. But then again, now it's coming down to you care about getting paid, not the ring. I will always.
Well, they're not going to get paid if they don't perform well. So,
Major League Baseball, you get paid for fucking showing up.
Well, I'm talking paid, not paid.
Well, Major League Baseball is different, though, man. I mean,
unless it's the Reds, right? See,
even Will Myers is getting $6 million. $6 million.
Yeah.
I just can't imagine what Will Myers' thought process was coming to Cincinnati.
Well, he saw Brandon Drury last year. That's my guess.
Okay, so it's money. It's not winning.
Yeah, it's money.
He's the average major league career
to help the team win while he's here. Like
when the average major league career is 7 years, and you waste 1 to 2 years of it doing that, I lose a little respect. I do.
But if that 1 to 2 years pushes you to a team that will compete, what does it say?
I'd rather be a backup on a winning team and not get paid than be an all-star for the fucking Orioles.
Well, that's what I just said. If it pushes you to another team that is winning, you get paid by that team after you come.
Probably could have been a backup with them instead of start for the Reds.
Okay. Maybe. Well, yes, they could have been a backup.
I don't know. I can't stand the money thing in sports. I can't. I just absolutely can't.
I can't blame you, Santori. Santori.
Money and agents have ruined sports.
Santori. I forget the guy's name, but it was from the movie I saw, Little Big League, where Tim becomes a manager, and he says baseball was made for kids. Grown-ups only screw it up.
Yeah. Yep. There should be a window that you have to spend from here to here, and if you're not there, you get penalized. You should have to be in that window. That will bring parity back. That will bring I mean, just anything you want, it'll bring it back.
Right.
I don't see how it couldn't.
Also, can I complain about the style of baseball? I'm going to sound like a bitter old man here.
Go for it.
I hate this era of 3 true outcomes. I hate it. I hate it. I hate it. Strikeout, walk, home run.
Mm-hmm.
It's so fucking boring. So boring. Where are the days of having someone who is fleet of foot on first base, fucking with the pitcher's head, bouncing back and forth, and trying to hit behind the runner and going first to third? Where are the days of manufacturing runs? Those are, again, things championship teams do instead of just trying to hit home runs their entire existence. It doesn't work. That's not a sustain. We talk about this all the time with football. Is what you're doing sustainable?
Mm-hmm.
The Reds' approach to the baseball the last 20 years has been hit more home runs at Great American Ballpark than anybody else. That's not sustainable.
Nope.
You've got 404 feet between the back of home plate and center field wall. You can use as much of that as you want. It doesn't have to go over the wall. To me, trying to hit home runs to win games is like throwing Hail Marys every third down. Why?
Yeah.
Just get the fucking first down, get to first, and play again.
Especially when you're only going to do it like 5 to 7% of the time, maybe.
Well, the other thing is baseball's got no clock.
Right.
You can keep scoring. There's no, okay, well, I scored and that's my possession and get it to the next guy. No, keep going.
Mm-hmm.
And guess what? If you give up a solo home run, the greatest pitchers of all time will tell you it was just a solo home run.
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't want to give up the
They can't
number.
stand when there's 2 guys on base because then it's going, oh, shit, I can't mess up.
No, that's
more and more and more and more guys on base, you will win so much more. I just,
Here you go. So that's why Rune is looking forward to the season. India, Fraley, Benson, Friedel, they've got some speed on the base paths with bigger bases now. Let's just see what happens. But he understands the frustration. I think that's the way I lean more towards Rune. I understand it 100%. There's also going to be more stealing because of the rule change. You can only throw over twice. And the third time, that runner is going. He gets to second. There was a lot more stolen bases during spring training. I don't know if you paid attention to that, but pitch clock didn't seem to mess up too much.
no, well, you got to get on base to steal bases, Billy
Billy?
Hamilton.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
I like having Rune on here, first off, so I'm trying not to just fucking blast him, and I'm in a terrible mood. Half the guys on that list you just sent over have the issue of stealing first base. It's not done. Fraley has a decent on-base percentage. India gets hit with more pitches than anybody I've ever seen.
Mm-hmm.
Benson, we haven't seen the Reds uniform yet. And Friedel, I'm still waiting to have a productive week and a half of baseball before he falls off the face of the earth. Rune, this is not personal to you. I hope to God I'm wrong. I love small ball more than anything on the planet. Consistent threat sports is to me, small ball is like having second and 3, second and 4. And it's like, I'm going to do whatever the fuck I want right now. And I'm going to toy with you, and there's not a damn thing you can do to do it. Stop it.
Right.
To me, that's what small ball is like. Instead, everybody just wants to throw bombs. And it's like, you're going to get picked, guys. You can't do that. I hope the Reds' depression kicks in July and not April. Mine kicked in last April, and it hasn't left, buddy. Mine's a year-round depression.
Yeah, the Brandon Sejo interview with Phil last year really kickstarted everything.
I was upset going into that interview, but that interview was like,
I'll put everybody over the top.
well, it wasn't even over the top. I was, in terms of upset, right? And right now I'm about a 5. This is mid for me. I was about a 6 or 7 going into that interview. I bypassed 10 and just went, all right, I'm done. I couldn't even get upset. I was like, fine, fuck you.
Right.
You will never see an ounce of my money again. I canceled cable. I haven't bought. My wife bought me a green Reds hat for St. Patrick's Day, and I was so torn because I was upset she spent money on the Reds, but I've always wanted one. It was something I wanted since I was a kid, and it's a $10 hat. It's not like it was anything I couldn't have done, but it was just one of those things of it made me want to cry.
Yeah.
So I was like, this fucking sucks, man. I can't even enjoy this.
Yeah.
And you talk about it's like a disappointed parent where it's like, I'm not even mad anymore, but you can't stay here. I'm going to kick you out. I hope. Goodbye.
Do you think anything, and I don't know if I've heard anybody say this part, but if people don't go, will they just cry that they don't have the money to spend? Because they're not selling any tickets, they're not selling any merchandise, they're not selling any concessions.
I believe.
Will that play into it? Because I don't know if anybody's ever said that.
The Reds make more money off of their TV revenue than
That just went bankrupt.
Yeah. They still have, I think, the 4th highest watched TV market in the country for a team. Reds fans are incredibly loyal. They're not going to struggle with money. They're not. We went over this. I don't know if you were on the show or not, that episode. But Greg and I were looking at the values of the Reds, and they've gone up nearly 10% a year every year for like the last 7 years.
Like 1.19 billion now, I think.
Yeah, they're not struggling for cash.
I did hear they operated at a $19 million loss last year, I think.
Mm-hmm. Told you they're losing money.
Yeah. So where would that money have come from?
I don't know.
They had the 3rd or 4th lowest attendance, I think, in all of Major League Baseball. So those ticket sales added with the loss of concessions, added with the loss of merchandise, you could say that
an average game yields 26,000 fans. Okay, an average game in Great American Ballpark.
Mm-hmm.
The average ticket in Great American Ballpark is about $33 for 82 games, 81 home games.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I guess that adds up. That's a lot of money, but
and that's just to get them even or a little in the black.
But again,
that shows what the power of the fans had, though. If you think of it, they said Bill Castellini said, "Where are you going to go?" And the Red fans were like, "Well, not there."
Well, the funny thing about that opening day was that I was just so in awe how many people were dressed up and ready for opening day. I'm like, Bengals came off Super Bowl and the Reds supposed to be horrible, yet they still showed up. And right after that is when Castellini made those comments, and I'm like, dude, they're showing up still, and you're gonna crap on them just like that. I mean, that's just an insult. It's just a total insult to everybody. And I just loved that they had a season ticket holder meeting. I think 3 or 4 people showed up, and I'm just sorry, man. I mean, you said what you said, and there's no going back. And it's just, I know I should let it go, and I admire the people that go down there. Like James, I admire that you're trying to stay positive. I admire everybody that goes down there. It's just that just really struck a chord with me.
And I've got a reason to stay positive.
Yeah.
My son, I want to make sure, enjoys the Reds until forever. Oops. Until forever.
Yeah.
So I choose to be that way.
And
I want to make sure that he doesn't see me crapping on the Reds.
Right.
And so that there's a little bit more to it with me, why I try to stay so positive. So I completely understand if you don't have kids, why you would be that way. trust me, I wouldn't mind being that way because I'm not the happiest with the Reds either, but I'm gonna do my best to try to be happy.
No, James, when I was in 1998, before they had that good 99 season, I was a huge Reds fan. I didn't care if they sucked or not. I just got so into it.
Yeah.
I didn't even care if they really were that great of a team as a kid, you know?
Right. Poor chap, he's going down there to get a Sky Rosa. I like it, Pork Chop.
There you go.
Oh, goodness. Well, what a show.
What a show indeed.
Adam was awesome.
Adam was, it was awesome. I mean, that was just so cool. I couldn't be, like I said, I was just blown away when I found it. When Santoro, you told us we were being sponsored by this. That was just so awesome.
I'm dead inside.
From talking about the Reds.
I'm in such a bad mood now.
Well,
That's why I don't like bringing them up on the show.
Let me put it this way.
Happy opening day.
The way you know
Is opening day this week?
Yeah.
Thursday.
Fuck.
The way you spoke about Adam's company and the way you brought it up and the way you talked about Cincinnati, that shows the reason why you're as upset as you are. And I get it.
Yeah.
Totally. 100%. Because you are that dedicated. So
They're just so fucking embarrassing.
I
I wish if they would go out on opening day and play. Go ahead and play. But I will show up if you take the word Cincinnati up off your chest until you win a fucking game. That's how much it means to me. I like Cincinnati more than I like the Reds. That's my hometown, and you're a fucking embarrassment to it. You need to earn you earn the name on the chest. You play for your name on your back. That's what I was always taught.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of those guys don't do that. The name on your back is the most important. The name on your chest is the second most. They're not playing for that name on their chest. I tell you that much.
Where'd Greg go?
I don't know.
And Tori needs a Sky Rosa, cheeseburger, cheese conies, French fries, chips, cookies, milkshake, anything. He had pizza.
I had a piece of pizza today. Maybe that's the fucking problem. This diet's terrible. I'm just angry all the time.
I don't know what my dog's doing over there.
I do have a Wagyu steak I have to make. I'm curious how that's going to go.
We'll get to it, brother. What are you doing here? I want to see the kids before they go to bed anyway.
Maddie decided she wanted to go ahead and raise a new big girl bed.
Oh, okay. I just told my wife we're live. She's like, oh. So, yeah, live right now. Santori's playing with his mustache. Yes. So, all right. So let's go ahead. Let's finish the show up. Adam was awesome. I do want to recap just a little bit. He had a lot of good insight about why he created the company, what he feels the company means, what he wants to do with the company, the direction of the company, people that he wants to get into the company. Bootsy Collins, that's a winner. I would love to see that. Had some good special teams talk for the 12 minutes that we talked about it. Maybe.
Hey, Santori, man, I guess I hold myself responsible for this. I'm sorry that I brought up the Reds. I only did because it was opening day this week, buddy. You doing all right?
You didn't bring up the Reds. That was Rune.
I thought I did.
No, Rune did.
Santori, I'm sorry, man.
No.
Like, I don't need you to win a World Series every year, but could you at least not look like a big pile of shit?
Could you at least try to make it look like you give a shit?
Yeah.
I'm not even setting the bar that high. Just try.
80 Santori, 80 losses was an improvement for me. That's saying. but
How many?
80 losses.
That would mean they'd have a winning record.
Oh, never mind then.
82 and 80 is what that would be.
Oh, well, okay. Well, then 90 losses. Let's put it that.
No, that's embarrassing.
Okay.
You mean to tell me over the course of the next 6 months I'm going to go to bed 90 times upset?
Well, buddy, compared to 100.
Wow.
Hey, sometimes there's double headers, so it's only one time. But you're twice as upset. No. All right. Well, let's go ahead and finish this up. Everybody, we're going to next week. We're pretty much done with the position groups.
Yeah, you know what? Hey, a month officially away from the NFL draft.
Yep. That's today. Yeah, a month.
You're right.
Too long.
Hey, I know, buddy, but hey, man, we're going to keep this going, buddy. All right.
Yep. We'll talk next week. We'll talk about any free agency stuff that happens, or maybe we can do a mock draft.
Why not?
We haven't done one on here.
We need to.
That would be fun, I think.
Yes, Tori, let's do the same story. How about this? Well, how about this? We can brainstorm. How about this? We think of a couple of play. We each write down 5 players we want at Love You Pork Chop. We'll figure out something, Santori. Hey, we love you, Santori.
Absolutely. All right, everybody, for Santori Miles, for Greg Luther, and Cincy James, love everybody. We will see you next week. Hooday!
Hooday!
And right into the stretch. Looking back and throws up the middle. Throws is on his way around. Picked up by Otis.
Here comes the ready or not.